Hey guys! Today I want to talk about something we all struggle with, putting things off until the last minute. You know what I'm talking about? Procrastination. Picture this. You have a big project due next week. You tell yourself you'll start today. You sit down at your desk, open your laptop, and then suddenly you're watching funny cat videos. Or maybe you're cleaning your room, or texting friends, or just staring at the wall. Anything but actually working on that project. 3 hours later, you haven't done a single thing you were supposed to do. And now you feel bad about it. But instead of starting, you think, well, I'll just do it tomorrow. I work better under pressure anyway. Fast forward to the night before it's due. You're stressed out, drinking way too much coffee and rushing to finish something that could have been amazing if you'd started earlier. Sound familiar? Let's get one thing straight right away. Procrastination isn't about being lazy. Not at all. If you were lazy, you wouldn't feel guilty about putting things off. You wouldn't worry about it. Lazy people don't care. But you do care, and that's why it bothers you so much when you procrastinate. The real reason we procrastinate is actually about our feelings. When we look at a big task, it makes us feel stuff we don't want to feel. Maybe we feel scared we'll mess it up. Maybe it seems so big that we feel overwhelmed. Maybe we're worried we're not smart enough to do it well. Or maybe it just seems boring, and we don't want to feel bored. So what does our brain do? It tries to protect us from these bad feelings. It says, hey, let's do something fun instead. That way we won't have to feel those nasty feelings. And that's how you end up scrolling through TikTok for 3 hours when you should be studying for your test. Here's the problem, and it's a big one. Procrastination actually makes everything worse. That small task that would have taken 30 minutes, now it's this huge, scary monster in your mind. That report that would have been easy if you started last week, now it's causing you to lose sleep. The more you put something off, the bigger and scarier it gets in your head. Think about it. Have you ever put something off for days or weeks, and when you finally did it, you thought, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. Why did I wait so long? The task is never as horrible as our mind makes it out to be. Now, in today's world, it's easier than ever to procrastinate. Your phone is right there, full of apps designed to grab your attention. Streaming services have endless shows to watch. Video games, social media, YouTube, they're all just a click away, offering instant good feelings when your work offers, well, not that. And the more you give into these distractions, the more your brain gets used to it. It becomes a habit. Your brain starts to think work equals stress, phone equals fun. And habits are hard to break. So why do we keep doing this to ourselves? Part of it is that our brains aren't great at thinking about future consequences. Your brain cares a lot more about how you feel right now than how you'll feel next week. When you put something off, you feel good right now, problem solved. Except the problem isn't solved at all. It's just been pushed to future you. And future you is still you. You're just dumping all your stress on yourself just later. Let me give you a real example. Remember being in school and having a big project assigned? The teacher says it's due in a month, and you think, a whole month, that's so much time. The first week goes by, you don't start. The second week, still nothing. 3 weeks in, you start feeling a little anxious, but you still don't start. Then suddenly it's 2 days before the deadline, and you're in full panic mode, staying up all night, doing rushed work and feeling miserable. We've all been there, but it doesn't have to be this way. You can break the procrastination cycle, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. First things first, stop waiting to feel like it. Motivation isn't something that magically appears. It's not like, oh, I'll wait until I feel inspired to clean my room. No, motivation actually comes after you start, not before. It's weird but true. Once you're in motion, it's much easier to stay in motion. But you have to get moving first. Here's what I want you to try. Instead of thinking about finishing the whole task, just think about starting it. Don't tell yourself, I need to write this entire 10-page paper today. That's too much pressure. Instead, tell yourself, I just need to write one paragraph. Or even, I just need to open the document and write one sentence. Make it so easy that it would be ridiculous not to do it. This is called the 2-minute rule. Tell yourself you only have to work on the task for 2 minutes. That's it. Just 2 minutes. Anyone can do anything for 2 minutes. And here's the cool part. Once you've started, once you're actually doing the thing, it's way easier to keep going. You'll often find yourself thinking, well, I might as well keep going since I've already started. Another big trick is to break down your work into tiny pieces. Our brains get overwhelmed when we think about big projects. Write research paper sounds hard and scary, but find 5 articles about my topic is specific and doable. Create outline for introduction is even more specific. Breaking it down makes it less scary and gives you a clear place to start. And speaking of starting, you need to make it as easy as possible to begin working. If you want to go for a run in the morning, put your running clothes and shoes right next to your bed the night before. If you need to work on a project, set up your workspace ahead of time. Close all those fun, distracting websites. Put your phone in another room. Make the path to starting your work as smooth as possible. Let me tell you about something else that might be happening in your brain. Sometimes we procrastinate because we're perfectionists. I know, it sounds weird, right? How can being a perfectionist make you put things off? Well, if you think everything you do has to be absolutely perfect, that puts a ton of pressure on you. It makes starting feel scary because what if it's not perfect? So instead of risking doing something imperfectly, you just don't do it at all. If this sounds like you need to give yourself permission to do things imperfectly. Start with a rough draft that's allowed to be bad. Remember, you can always improve it later, but you can't improve something that doesn't exist yet. Perfect is the enemy of done. Now, let's talk about distractions. They're everywhere, and they're designed to pull you in. Social media apps are literally created to be addictive. They want you to keep scrolling. They're not on your side when it comes to getting things done. So you need to set up your environment to win. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb mode, or even better, put it in another room while you work. Use website blockers if you need to. Tell your friends and family not to bother you during your work time. Make a dedicated workspace that your brain associates with focusing, not playing. Another helpful trick is the Pomodoro technique. It's simple. Work focused for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. After 4 of these cycles, take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. This works because it gives your brain regular rest periods to look forward to. You can tell yourself, I just need to focus for 25 minutes, then I can check my phone. It makes the work feel less endless. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves when we procrastinate is, I work better under pressure. No, you don't. You might work faster under pressure, but not better. When you're rushed and stressed, you make mistakes. You miss important details. You don't have time to review your work. What you're actually saying is, I can only work when the fear of failure is so high that it finally outweighs my fear of starting. That's not a good system. Think about how it feels when you finish something way ahead of deadline. It feels amazing. You have time to review your work. You can make improvements. You can actually relax without that nagging feeling that you should be working on something. That's real freedom. Let's go deeper into why we procrastinate. Sometimes we put things off because we're afraid of failing. If you never start that business you've been dreaming about, you never have to face the possibility that it might not work out. If you never ask that person out, you never have to deal with rejection. Sometimes not trying feels safer than trying and failing. But here's the thing, not trying is failing. It's just failing by default. And it's the worst kind of failing because you don't even give yourself a chance. At least when you try and things don't work out, you learn something. You grow. You can try again, better. When you don't try at all, you stay exactly where you are. Another reason we procrastinate is because we're not clear on what we actually need to do. Vague goals lead to procrastination. Get in shape is vague. Walk for 30 minutes 3 times this week is clear and actionable. Start my business is vague. Research 5 competitors and write a 1-page business plan this weekend is specific. The clearer your task is, the easier it is to start. And sometimes we put things off simply because we're tired or burned out. If you're exhausted all the time, of course you'll have trouble getting things done. In this case, the answer isn't better productivity tricks. It's rest. It's taking care of yourself. Make sure you're sleeping enough, eating well, moving your body, and taking breaks. You can't pour from an empty cup. Now, let's talk about building better habits. Because really, overcoming procrastination isn't a one-time thing. It's about changing your default behaviors over time. Start by picking specific times for your work. Don't just say, I'll work on this sometime today. Say, I'll work on this from 9 o'clock to 10:30 this morning. Put it in your calendar. Treat it like an important appointment, because it is. Next, think about your environment. Where do you work best? Some people need absolute quiet. Others work better with a little background noise. Some people need a clean, organized space. Others are fine with a bit of mess. Figure out what works for you and set up your space accordingly. Another powerful habit is to track your progress. Get a calendar and put an X on every day that you work on your important tasks. After a few days, you'll have a chain of X's and you won't want to break the chain. It's a simple but powerful visual reminder of your commitment. And don't forget to reward yourself. Our brains respond really well to rewards. If you finish a task you've been putting off, give yourself something you enjoy. Maybe it's watching an episode of your favorite show, or going for a walk, or buying yourself a small treat. Connect the feeling of accomplishment with something pleasant. Sometimes procrastination can be a sign that something deeper is going on. If you find yourself constantly putting things off, even when you try all these techniques, it might be worth talking to someone about it. Chronic procrastination can sometimes be linked to anxiety, depression, or ADHD. There's no shame in getting help if you need it. Let me share a personal story. I used to be the world's worst procrastinator. In college, I would literally wait until the night before a paper was due to start writing it. I'd stay up all night, fueled by energy drinks, typing furiously. I got decent grades, but I was always exhausted, always stressed, and I knew I wasn't doing my best work. The turning point came when I had a huge project due, and I did my usual wait until the last minute routine. But this time, my computer crashed at 3 a.m. I lost hours of work, I had to email my professor and beg for an extension, which was embarrassing. And I realized, this is ridiculous. I'm doing this to myself. So I started making changes. Small ones at first. I began using a calendar. I started breaking down my assignments into smaller steps. I set earlier personal deadlines. And slowly, I built better habits. Now, I still occasionally procrastinate on things because I'm human. But it's no longer my default mode, and let me tell you, life is so much better this way. Here's another thing to consider. What would you say to a friend who is struggling with procrastination? Would you call them lazy? Would you tell them they're hopeless? Probably not. You'd probably be kind and encouraging. So why not talk to yourself the same way? Instead of beating yourself up when you procrastinate, try being compassionate. I'm struggling with this task, but that's okay. I can take a small step forward. The most important thing to remember is that you can change. Procrastination is not a permanent personality trait. It's a habit, and habits can be broken. It takes time and effort, but it's absolutely possible. So, let's recap what we've learned about beating procrastination. 1. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Start small and motivation will follow. 2. Break down big tasks into tiny, specific steps. 3. Use the 2-minute rule. Just commit to 2 minutes of work to get started. 4. Set up your environment for success by removing distractions. 5. Try the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of focus, then a short break. 6. Let go of perfectionism. Done is better than perfect. 7. Set specific times for your work and treat them like important appointments. 8. Track your progress visually to build momentum. 9. Reward yourself when you complete tasks. 10. Be kind to yourself when you slip up. Change takes time. Remember, procrastination isn't about laziness, it's about managing your emotions and building better habits. Every time you choose to start rather than delay, you are strengthening your action muscle. It gets easier over time. And think about this. On your deathbed, you won't regret the time you spent working on things that matter to you. You'll regret the opportunities you missed because you kept putting things off. The book you never wrote, the business you never started, the places you never visited. Don't let procrastination steal your dreams. The most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who consistently show up. They're the ones who start when they don't feel like it. They're the ones who keep going when things get hard. You can be that person too. In fact, you can start right now. As soon as this video ends, pick one thing you've been putting off, just one small thing, and take one tiny step toward it. Open that document, send that email, make that phone call, whatever it is, just do one small piece of it. Because here's the truth, there will never be a perfect time. There will always be reasons to delay. But the time you have is now, and the person who can change your habits is you. So what are you waiting for? This video is almost over. Get ready to pause, close your browser, and do that one small thing you've been avoiding. Your future self will thank you, and remember, I believe in you. You've got this. Actually, don't wait until the video ends. Do it now. Pause this video, go do that thing you've been putting off, and then come back and finish watching. I'll wait. Did you do it? If you did, amazing. That's a huge win. If not, that's okay too. Just make sure you do it right after the video. The bottom line is this: procrastination is a battle we all face, but it's a battle you can win, one small action at a time. Start now, not tomorrow, not in an hour, now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.